directly off 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach, located just 5 miles west of Pier Park.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Shoreline Rentals, Panama City and Mexico Beach vacation rentals are ready for your visit to the sugary white sand beaches and emerald green waters of the Gulf in Florida's Panhandle. Shoreline Rentals' years of experience means helping you plan a wonderful beach vacation or management of your home will be a breeze. Visit their website or call them today, shorelinerentals-pcb.com or 850-757-7118.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
My doctor prescribed me Viagra. It wasn't covered by my insurance, so it was costing me like $65 a pill. That's expensive.
Over 20 million guys like us use Viagra. Over a certain age, we just need it. I found a way to pay less than $3 a pill and get virtually the same effect of the $65 pill. I heard an ad just like this on the radio, called, and for $99, I got 40 generic versions of the $65 pill. Save yourself money and call right now and get over 40 pills for $99. There's no embarrassment here to use Viagra. If we're over 50, we need it, but not at high prices. Call now with your credit card and get the 40 pill special for just $99.
Call 800-NEW-BLUE. 800-NEW-BLUE. 800-NEWBLUE. That's 800.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Welcome to the house. It's time for the Afternoon Underdogs.
It's happening.
Wow.
It's on right now.
Opinionated and unfiltered. The hot takes, the rants, and the sports talk you crave.
Give it to me.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Man,
half price. I love it.
Yeah, Kyle's got his family out here with, well, the majority of your family,
yeah.
3/4 of your family, just missing the wife and Rachel. But yeah, Carson, Ezra out there having a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, the Carson just broke the high score on the Pac-Man game out there, so good luck beating that, because I've never seen anything like it in my life, to be honest. I thought we'd be over quick, and then we were there for 15 minutes, so it was something else, man. And then I, of course, had to make sure I got my second week in a row, got my comeuppance on the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Oh, you did that again today?
Yeah,
hey, I'm proud of you.
There were only 2 that needed to be filled. It took me 4 swipes.
What was your surprise or grand total or whatever the heck you call it?
630.
630. Last week it was 588, and you only had to get 2 this time.
Yep.
But I think that has to do with, and I'm not sure, maybe correct me if I'm wrong here, but that has to do with how many times others are playing the games, right?
Yeah, I think it goes up every time.
Which is still, I mean, hey, that's awesome. And it's a fun, it's one of those games that's, honestly, for me, not playing it, haven't even played it, but it's fun to watch people play it because
it's cool
you got to get that timing down. Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit like watching some baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. Or watching a baseball movie.
or watching a baseball movie, which is a great little, not necessarily a segue or a pivot, because we're going to be talking about it in the second hour of the show. But
just a little appetizer.
We do got the bracket set, man. Put a lot of work into this bracket, and it is done. We won't be making any votes today, but more or less just kind of highlighting some of the marquee matchups, and then we'll be making it available to the public, if you will, and that should be a lot of fun. Again, we're the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes, along with Drew Gorman and Kyle Wright. Hopefully everyone's having a great day. I guess our lead could be today. We could start with PGA Live. If you guys have any topics, questions, or anything like that, I can do my best to my best Ryan Mulvey impression, if you will. He knows what he's talking about. I pretend to, but I've learned a lot from being on his show, or from running the board for him the last couple of days, and it's a blast, man, because that is one of those worlds that I only know what I read into.
Right.
I can create my own hypotheticals and all of that good stuff, but it's literally just that. In fact, I don't think a whole lot of people actually know. Dadgummit, the PGA Tour golfers themselves barely know what's going on right now.
Well, who was it that we were talking about last Thursday? Was it Nicklaus?
Jack Nicklaus, who came out and said they're not a part of the golf game anymore, or the game of golf anymore.
So when does he walk that back?
Well,
There's
that one's going to be. I don't know if he's going to walk that back, because at the end of the day, I don't know if his ideology is going to align with Jay Monahan and the route that he's taken to get to this point, because it is a wild situation, and one that I just wish wouldn't have happened yet, because I think it was you, Kyle, who said earlier, or you read off a article or something to me, where they're not even the live golfers are still not going to be eligible, despite all of this, for the Ryder Cup, and
right.
they're not going to be eligible for the PGA Tour events until next season. So my question is this the Live Tour going to be like a cease and desist for the rest of this year? Like, they can't even put on any more events for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I feel like that would be a little unfair. I know the word fair is like really, I guess, maybe overused in the world, and especially in sports, but I would say that, it would definitely be kind of bad, right? Because a lot of this, it didn't come because Liv's failing. It came just because, like, the people were tired of the divide, if you will. So, like, I would hate to see that happen. I would hate to see them get barred from it just because people hate it because it's different.
And I don't think I can back down from the way that I actually feel about it, where to me, I know that I've heard Ryan say this, so this isn't a creation of my thoughts necessarily, but just kind of how I felt about it along the way. There's cover-up here. There's cover-up on both sides. It's not just on the PGA Tours trying to, not go through the deposition so that things are not found out about the direction that their money actually goes, and then the same way for the Saudis and the Public Investment Fund, the PIF, and all of that stuff. I think there was things on both sides that neither one of them thought it would be conducive for their brands had they got out, and so now they're sitting here today together. And my biggest thing is, well, it's not my biggest thing, but one of my biggest things is that I loved the difference in what the Live Tour was. Like, honestly, outside of the four majors, if I was going to go to an event, not even talking about sitting there watching it on TV, if I was going to go to an event, I would choose the more fun event, which would be Live. They can wear shorts, all of that good stuff, but the event around itself it seems to be like a poppin' happening event. So I would rather go see that. And I don't want that. I don't think that needs to leave the game of golf, because at the end of the day, Rory gets out there and wants to say that at the end of the day, regardless of how you feel, all of this is going to be good for the game of golf. Well, if it's not conducive to the kids, then it's not conducive to the future, because you have to get them locked in. What is baseball, Major League Baseball, what has been their biggest key, right? Like, what's been them trying to make baseball more popular? Why did they do the pitch clock and everything? They did not do it for people of our age and older. They did it for the younger, I guess our age as well, but not for the extreme baseball purists, right? They made those changes because they're envisioning the future and what direction it's going to be going in.
What is the mantra of WWE, if you will? Just to continue using them as an example in all of these comparisons and everything, because they've got their thing with AEW. once you're a fan, you're a fan. Like you can fall out of it for a little bit, but you're gonna come back in. So like the goal is never to appease to who's already watching, who's always gonna watch.
Yeah.
Like obviously you want to keep them happy, but you have to be trying to gain followers too.
Well, just throwing something out there, could be way off base, could be right on topic, but
yeah, the stake's good. I agree.
Could the Live Tour kind of turn into a developmental league?
Well, that's what, in my opinion, that's what the DP World Tour is. That's what the Korn Ferry Tour is. They've even got a thing now for college golf called PGAU, where certain golfers, at the college level, can win their way onto the tour and onto the Korn Ferry Tour.
But the PGA could also use it like the MLB uses the minor leagues as their test system of, hey, let's test this rule out, let's test that out, let's run it there.
I just don't see that happening.
I don't want that to happen.
I mean, it's a good thought.
Definitely.
Absolutely. But, like, just how much money was put into Live and how much, like, attention has been paid to it, I just never... You can never see that becoming, like, a minor league.
And the money that the Saudis are putting in, like, is that going to force PGA to pay their players more?
Oh, well... It already has. Purses have already have started to get bigger. You've got Jay Monahan, the commissioner of the PGA Tour, coming out and saying that there's going to be certain events next year that are going to be without cuts, which was one of those beautiful things. If you're a golfer now and you're on the PGA Tour and you're not top 65 in the field, depending on how big the field is, come Saturday or come Friday, then you're cut. You missed the cut. You don't get no money. Right. You don't get any money, and that's kind of one of those things of you got to work your tail off in the game of golf to get to a peak stat, not even a peak status, a status where you make good money, And so with the Live Tour though, it was you're playing, you're getting paid, and outside of that, then you got select fews. Like they offered Tiger Woods $800 million or whatever, and who knows how many. Like when they paid those guys $800 million. It was just to basically represent the band, which they didn't pay anyone $800 million, but DJ Dustin Johnson got $150 million. These guys got some pretty big paydays, and then you've got the other side of it, the PGA Tour loyalist or whatever, and some of the things that the PGA Tour did to, manipulate the minds of others into. I'm not even just talking about the golfers. I'm talking about the fans. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Using the families of reporters over there who were brutally murdered or whatever to try to get people to align with them, and then turn around and just
filthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Everyone's been hearing about it all day though, so for the last 2 days. So it's more fun at this point to ask questions and find out what's going to happen in the future. So I don't Live become like PGA Junior or anything. I think that that's a very real possibility, but I would like to see that become its own entity where maybe, the guys on the Live Tour, I don't know, because I want to see rivalries, man. I want to see the NFL versus AFL, which again, like, I don't know a ton about that, but I do know that, Joe Namath is simply famous and possibly in the Hall of Fame because of that game where the AFL beat the NFL.
Right.
And so I love the rivalries. Caveman Rick says it right here on Facebook as well. He loves the rivalry as well. So there, we'll see. And I think there's a lot more things to come out about this, especially as we get closer to the U.S. Open, which will be next week. Now, something we've been excited about for the last 2-3 years now, EA Sports College Football.
It's just not going to happen, dude.
So On3 put out a post today. The College Football Players Association is organizing a boycott of the 2024 EA Sports College Football game. That is reported by Pete Nakos. The payout for athletes was expected to be $500, which, if you're thinking about it, of course, for these guys who are getting NIL, they're going to scoff at that.
Right.
EA Sports still has to make money, but there's still got to be a few guys on those football rosters, and when I say a few, there's more that would use this, would like this $500 than there's not, right?
Right.
And that's kind of my biggest issue with it, is that, man, kind of put on for your boys and let everybody be a part of the game. Like, most of these football players, when y'all were young men, or when y'all were kids aspiring to be this, y'all played the NCAA football games yourselves. So why not? Like, just take the 500, or how do you, what do y'all envision should happen here?
Just don't put real players in it. Like, don't even use likenesses. We don't care. I think I could speak for. I know not everybody's like this, but I'll say a fair number is probably 90% of video game fans and sports video game fans in general. When I say we don't care, I can make my own players.
Yeah.
I can do it, dude. I can make it happen. Or somebody's going to do it. I can download rosters.
I was about to say, I'm not doing it, but somebody might do it.
Somebody's going to do it. I don't need that. I don't need Jordan Travis to be on the new game. I don't need all that to happen.
But you
Put
can't tell
legends
me,
on it.
But you can't tell me it wouldn't be better just to have that already in the game.
I mean, absolutely.
And especially,
it would be better, right? But a lot of things would be better.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. But here's my thing, too, is, and you know, they can edit the faces and everything, but when they do those realistic face scans, it does add another element to the realism.
And I agree with that, but I think at this point we're just longing to have a sport, like a college football video game.
Yeah.
And I just want to play as Florida State. I want to go through the recruiting. I want to do all this again, because Madden's dry.
Yeah.
It's gone dry. Like, if you're not somebody who's
what makes Madden even better, though? NCAA, especially because I'm a franchise type of guy.
Because you can import your draft classes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a franchise type of guy, which I do that anyways. But I'm not playing with those collegiate players. You know what I mean? And with the NCAA, you add a whole nother element, and it pumps into Madden as well. Because you're right, though, when it comes down to like Madden Ultimate Team and the more popular modes on Madden these days, it is 100% like pay up or grind your tail off, which is fun too. But you just you're never on a even ground, which I guess goes right back to what we were talking about earlier. Maybe the word fair shouldn't be thrown around as much these days. But yeah,
I just want this game to come out, man. And it just doesn't seem like it's going to. It's not going to happen next year. I'll tell you that. It was supposed to be this year, and it wasn't. And it's supposed to be next year, and it's not going to be. Yeah. If we ever get a college football video game again, I'd be surprised.
Whoever brokered the deal between Live and PGA needs to broker this deal.
Well, I'm
needs to fix this.
This is more important to the world.
Yeah. Like, this will end world hunger.
Yeah.
Caveman says EA Sports should just charge a couple extra dollars extra for the game, and make sure those couple extra dollars go to the players for name, image, and likeness.
I like that.
Yeah.
Would you pay $100 for the game, Dave? As somebody who's been waiting on it for 11 years by that point.
Oh, man, that is just so tough. Well, yes, because the way that I look at, and I can't say that I'd buy it the day that it came out. I would really have to look at, I'd have to look at how my finances are at that point in time. But when I look at buying a game, I ask myself, how much am I going to pay it, and how much am I going to play it, and how much am I paying for it? So if I can rationalize the amount that I'm paying, and I feel like I'm going to get enough out of that game, then yeah, do I always make the right decision? Not always, but I don't buy a lot of video games these days.
That's a pretty high increase, like $30 per copy. But if you what's the average video game now? $69.99?
Yeah,
60
or $59.99?
No. Like for a new game these days, if you're getting on the Xbox, on the new version of the Xbox,
$69.99.
Yeah, it's normally $70.
So if you charge $80, a $10 upcharge on every copy, and that's for an NIL purpose, or you just even make like you can have like
just make it
deluxe editions. Right,
yeah,
and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then you get your NIL off the deluxe editions, and then you can go all the way up to like Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, and Joe Burrow editions and stuff. I mean, yeah, there's ways that they could do it, but the problem is that, man, like the kids have so much, and they earned it, but they have so much kind of power with that name, image, likeness stuff that it's one of those things that, man, like a lot of you guys are making a lot of money, like. And those are the ones who don't want the $500. But for the guys who can barely afford their meals throughout the week, like they would kill for that $500.
I think you said it best. I think you hit the nail on the head the first sentence you said. It was like, hey, at some point, you just got to put on for your team, put on for your boys, and just let it go.
Don't you want to play as yourself in college?
You want
as
to
a college
play as
kid?
yourself, dude? For real, though. Like, we all create ourselves, but this is something where you're not creating yourself. Someone else is in charge of the statistics that you receive and all of that stuff.
Some of
And
you can see how bad you really suck.
there you go. And some of you can see how underrated you are.
How underrated you are, right? Make yourself
Use
an
that
99.
as fuel, dog.
And it looks like you.
And it looks like you, right? Because that's going to be the difference, though, is you can edit the players and their facial features and all of that stuff, but it's never going to be the same as when they do the face scan.
You.
I just hope that
Drew's like, I don't care. Warzone's good, man. I'm great.
I just hope that
NCAA, dog.
while all this logistical stuff is going on, that they are at least working on the game.
Yeah.
Because it takes years to make these games.
Well, I would imagine that they're working on it because I know that they're working on some aspects of it, and I do know that you had some computer guys or whatever who NCAA 14 on the computer version, on the PC version, that they modded it, and so they got that group of guys got added to the development team for NCAA 24. But by the time that we get to it, it's going to be NCAA 25, or someone can work some magic here and get something done. I think we would all, for the most part, outside of people who don't play video games or whatever. But man, like think about how many. Bro, Carson was not alive, right, when the last NCAA came out.
14. Carson was swimming.
Right, right, exactly. So with that being said, Carson, there's almost a whole generation of kids who have no idea about that game, but yet they still love college football.
Tyler, my little brother was Carson's age when this last game came out.
Wow.
And he's how old right now? 16?
It was 2013 when it came out, right?
Yeah, NCAA 14 would have came out in July of 13.
So he's 17 now, so he was 7 years old.
That's
6 or 7.
So wild.
Something wild about it is there are kids nowadays that only know Denard Robinson because he was on the cover.
Shoelace, man.
Only know him because he was on the cover.
Yep.
But dog balled out in Michigan.
He was really good at Michigan. There's a reason he was on that cover.
Yeah,
he was so good, and that's the cool. That's the thing about this.
And then the Jaguars forced him to turn to a running back.
But so many guys are that good in college, and they just don't. They never get good in the pros. But that's the chance, right? RG3, he was so good. Like, dude, RG3 on NCAA 12 or NCAA 11. I think he was on NCAA 11 because Ingram was on 12, right?
Ooh, was it?
Or was RG3 on 13?
RG3 was on 13.
He was on 13.
It was him and Barry Sanders.
If you played as him on that game, you couldn't be stopped.
Yeah.
You couldn't be. And you play with him on Madden, and you're like, this dude's terrible.
And then there's such a different thing. Like college football and the NFL are two different worlds. Like, you don't have recruiting, you've got free agency. And then to bring the changes that have happened, not only by the time that this game actually comes out, the SEC and the Big Ten are going to look totally different, but then you bring in the NIL. You know that they have to make that a part of the game, right? I'm talking about the video game. Yeah, all of that stuff. And it's going to be something that we're so used to and we've missed for so long, but also it's going to be a totally new version as well. So get it done, EA Sports. We're tired of waiting for this.
I just don't see the difference between what we did on Madden a couple years ago, where we have the college teams on there. Like, if it really comes down to NIL, then FDK is what we say, right? Forget about it.
Yeah,
forget about it.
I feel that, but there is
let's just play video games at this point.
And I like that mode, but there still is something totally different about playing with quarterback one and playing with Jordan Travis.
Of course, and obviously we understand that, but it's.
But it's still about the video game.
It's about the game.
We can make strides in the future once we actually have something there.
Most of us are in it for the franchise, so we're only playing 3 seasons with these guys anyway.
Yeah,
if they don't get in the transfer portal, we'll see how bad that is on the game.
Oh my gosh,
that road to glory, though.
That road to glory, though.
Taking your road to glory guy into the NFL.
That was my favorite thing.
Especially when they had the Madden where I think it was the same year. You had the NCAA where you'd have to do the Wonderlic test and all of that stuff, and then you'd go to Madden and you'd get the apartment and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
That was the funnest thing.
We're nerding out in here. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Stay tuned, because when we get back, it's going to be time for our Wednesday our Wednesday dose of Would You Rather.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The tradition continues.
That ball is going to be out of here.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
Bombs
Atlanta Braves are back and making a statement.
Head first slide, 2 RBI triple.
Listen to Atlanta Braves baseball in a rich audio experience live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here comes the thunder.
Sponsored by Best Way Portable Buildings, Dave & Buster's, PCB Hobby, and Gulf Coast Aquarium.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Wednesday afternoon. The remainder of the day, a mixture of very light showers and mostly sunshine, and 81 with a gentle breeze out of the southwest around 11 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clear skies and a low near 74. Tomorrow, mostly sunny in the morning, but otherwise possible thunderstorms and a high around 83. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
The road is yours this summer in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Stop by and check out the Bill Bird Kia SUV family that is built for all in adventures and endless possibilities. Whether you're traveling on the highways or off-road, you'll do it with grace and grit. Now offering 3.25% APR up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Sorento. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort and safety and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us today at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind that you can trust.
Offer from Kia Finance for the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Sorento with $22.22 per month per 1,000 finance at 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers must take delivery from dealer stock through 7/5/23.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The tradition continues.
It is a walk-off home run for Sean Murphy into the Braves bullpen.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida. Make sure that you're tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida for the Blast at Bay Point. Coach James Hale Show, 7:40. We've got some rounds of golf to give away over there at Bay Point, so be tuned in for the Blast at Bay Point. Yeah, going to be giving away a couple of twosomes there. I think we're going to have some range balls to give away. So tune in to the Coach James Hale Show this Friday at 7:40 a.m. Your Atlanta Braves will be taking on the New York Mets tonight again for Game 2. Got a big-time win last night, 6-4 over the Mets, and that was, a lot of fireworks last night for sure, especially with Bryce Elder and Pete Alonso. We'll dive into that at 4:40. Again, we're out here at Dave & Buster's in the beautiful. Well, we've got Amanda here till 5 today, so I'm pretty sure we could hook someone up with another $10 Dave & Buster's Power Card, which is worth $20 on Wednesdays. Yeah. So all you got to do is come find us here in Dave & Buster's. First person to come find us at Dave & Buster's today is going to be winning a $10 Power Card. Again, I'm David Hayes along with Kyle Wright and Drew Gorman, and we're going to talk a little bit about Chris Paul right now. We're going to push Would You Rather off for just a little bit, but tell me about some of the news that you just saw break over there, Drewski.
So apparently Phoenix has decided to waive CP3 and making him a free agent this upcoming offseason, which is definitely interesting. Does this kind of strike you as a cap casualty to allow money to pay for Kevin Durant and keep him long term?
Well, would you rather have Kevin Durant or Chris Paul at this point of their careers?
I think I still want Chris Paul.
Now for me as a fan of the game, I want to see Chris Paul get one before he goes. So also, I mean, think about, well, you got D'Angelo Russell over there, and I don't know if you want to pair LeBron James and Chris Paul and think that that's just going to fix things, because it's absolutely not going to. But I want to see Chris Paul get onto a team where he is where he has a legitimate shot, and he's got one there with Phoenix. So I could see them waiving him and then restructuring that contract in a sense.
My ideal place for Chris Paul,
Memphis.
In this listening area, probably going to be Miami.
Chris Paul in Miami.
A little bit of a little bit of a ball. He passes well. He's a facilitator. That's the word I've been looking for. But he knows when he needs to go out and get his.
Yeah.
And Miami needs someone other than, not saying the other dudes, Gabe Vincent, Strus, and the other guys.
But most of those are just wing players, though, right?
But they need someone who is a certified bucket other than Jimmy Butler.
But Chris Paul's not a certified bucket. He helps others get certified buckets.
You know, he can get his. He can get his when he wants it.
That's fair.
Yeah, the 40 games he plays, he can do it. But that's going to be the problem. Is that I disagree with you on Miami. I don't want him anywhere near Miami. I
The
think
40 games he plays will be the 40 other games that Kyle Lowry doesn't play, or
I think
Hero, or
after seeing the news today, I think Miami's pretty much all in on Dame Lillard at the end of the season. So it's looking like maybe that's a big possibility, because I do agree that Miami is missing that true scorer. Because I'm just going to be real with you, even Jimmy Butler's not that guy. Not in the regular season. He's that guy in the playoffs, but in the regular season, Jimmy Butler's like just another dude, really, in today's NBA. So, Miami needs that. For Chris Paul, I think he's going to end up with LeBron. It's kind of been a long time coming. Maybe he goes to the Lakers. He never really did get to play for the Lakers. He ended up with the Clips. I do think you'll have half of the Banana Boat Boys there in LA.
So I kind of just said that when you were over there. Yeah, but not in the same. Well, no. It's great because it made me think of something else. So you mean to tell me, and not you, just the association, the National Basketball Association, that it's okay for Chris Paul, and obviously we're talking about two different timelines here, but it's okay for Chris Paul to go play with the Lakers when LeBron's there, but when it's Kobe Bryant, that's not okay.
So first of all,
there's the NBA owned the Hornets,
right?
Was that? Yeah,
the
I guess
NBA owned the Hornets. Stern was
the
commissioner at the time, and LeBron's 50 years old.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It was one of those that was more for laughs there than anything. But I did think that was the first thing that I thought about when you said it.
That's really going to be a thing on Facebook. Is people would do that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he could play with Bron, huh? And then I'll be like, okay, so you're threatened by 40-year-old LeBron. He's the GOAT.
Yeah. Well,
where would you put CP3?
What do you mean? Like, where
would you think? Where would you think his
roles reversed all the way
spot? Where do you think his perfect spot is?
I know that a team like Boston really needs a leader like that.
Ooh.
Dude, Jaylen, like if they could get something for Jaylen Brown that's worth something, and if that's the direction that the Celtics want to go, I like Boston.
I don't hate that.
Indiana could be a great place if he doesn't care about winning championships.
Yeah, he's never got one. So why at this point?
But here is the thing. Like thinking about it right now, I couldn't even tell you who like the true point guard is of the Pacers. Of course, they got Tyrese Halliburton. You move him to the 2, have CP3 play the 1, and then that makes Miles Turner even that much more efficient. I mean, but they're not championship contenders though, and I want to see CP3 get it. Get the championship.
Yeah,
maybe he does end up in Miami. You know what I mean? We do need a true point guard. It could happen. I'm just saying, like, I prefer for it not to, unless he's going to come off the bench.
Oh, Caveman Rick, CP Philly. I mean,
it's possible as well.
Over there, how is that relationship if Harden's still there? Like, because Harden's kind of played that point a little bit, but it could work out.
They've played together.
I think Chris Paul
Harden
could work
says
out.
He wants out.
Well, yeah, Harden's opting out, so we'll see what's going to happen there. But I think Embiid with a true point guard is that's a dangerous thought.
But I mean, Harden saying he's opting out or opting in or whatever, it's like we'll get to that.
That would be the best thing for Philly is if Harden just scooted.
And could you imagine CP3 with Embiid? Because CP3 unlocked. I won't say unlocked, but really made Ayton shine with passing.
Offensively?
Yeah.
But definitely not defensively.
Really made him shine and allowed him to be the player he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then you
did it with Blake Griffin too.
You pair him with Embiid up there.
DeAndre Jordan too.
That's just insane to think of because Embiid's already top tier. Then you add in, oh my goodness.
All right, so great text here from Justin. He says CP3 wins a championship if he wins Sixth Man of the Year. Send him to Denver. He backs up Jamal Murray.
See, I think that's a good pick too. I was just about to say that. You get another guy like when Jokic is on the bench that can come and run the floor like that, which is crazy to compare a center to Chris Paul. But that dude's unbelievable. When we talk about the NBA, I would love to just hype that man up for a minute. Even as a Miami Heat fan, it's unbelievable.
Oh, it absolutely is. CP3 could help unlock Maxey. That's a great take there. I think anyone who gets Chris Paul, and I think it can't be you're automatically in our starting five, but how do you pave that way? It's kind of like telling Russell Westbrook, like, don't go try to get triple doubles. You know what I mean?
Right. I think that you would, whoever gets Chris Paul would have to go with the mentality of, like, we're adding to an already good. Not like, hey, we're trying, like, let's try to take that next step and get to it. Like,
this is the piece that's going to put us over.
Yeah, right. This will be a team like a Boston or a Phoenix.
Yeah. Richard says CP doesn't play defense and he's too old to play that hard, which is what's needed in Miami. Damian Lillard is what's needed on the Heat. But is Damian Lillard just like is he finally going to give up on the Trailblazers?
Well, he said today that his preferred destinations are Miami or Brooklyn.
Okay, well, I mean, how is that even? Why Brooklyn?
I don't know, man. Maybe just to be different.
They got a young.
They do have like that kind of nucleus of non-stars or whatever.
Yeah.
They brought in a lot of they brought in some good talent through their trade.
They have a Portland feel to them because whenever
go to Portland, baby.
Well, Rodgers left Green Bay for Green Bay.
When Portland was there,
probably less feces on the ground. Maybe, I don't know.
When the Trailblazers were up and running, they had Nurkic, McCollum, and Dame, and they were all that was just a gritty team. They played a lot of defense. With the young up and coming stars that are playing in Brooklyn, they seem to have that same underdog grit mentality.
And now, Dame's kind of got that leadership ability now that unlocked. So, I mean, maybe that would be good for Brooklyn, but I want him in Miami, so it's not even a possibility.
You go.
I just look at like Miami's in the finals when they have anything, and like this how big Heat culture is. Kyrie too, because I think he would fit in with the Heat. Like, I think that the Heat culture would change his mentality as well. But anyway,
what you just described right there is exactly how Boston Celtics fans felt last year. Then they went out and got Brogdon, and it was supposed to help them and get better, and it did not.
And I really thought it was because Malcolm Brogdon, he won Rookie of the Year with the Bucks. Then he goes to the Pacers, and I really liked what he brought to the Pacers. But the biggest setback for me with Brogdon personally was just not being able to be on the floor.
Yeah. It's the craziest thing because it reminded me of exactly what you said. You're like, we're here without having everything. We're in the finals without having literally anything. We weren't supposed to be here. And I'm sitting there thinking back to an ESPN article that I read, and they were talking the same thing about Boston last year. It's just insane.
Who was a team this year in the regular season that was a lot of talk of the town, but then after the first round of the playoffs, not discussed anymore? The Sacramento Kings. Could that be a landing place for CP3? Now, what does De'Aaron Fox play, point guard, or does he play shooting guard?
I think he's a
point.
Yeah.
And then you got DeMontis Sabonis over there who plays that kind of point forward style, but he's not necessarily. He just gets a lot of assists, but he doesn't really run the point like that.
But when you can have in today's NBA, I don't think a 3-guard system's ever a bad thing.
Yeah, Milwaukee, that's another one from Justin.
That situation comes down for CP3 to work in Sacramento. He has to be okay in his mind that he's going to be a bench player. He's going to be that sixth man and not the starter, not the guy who runs it.
Right.
He's got to be okay with that. And it's kind of how you were talking a minute ago. How do you tell Russell Westbrook not to do that?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Got a couple of postponements today, one in Major League Baseball and one in the WNBA. So let's see, they're announcing the postponing games in New York and Philadelphia. So I guess that's 2 games because of poor air quality caused by the smoke from Canadian wildfires. Caveman Rick shared this with me not too long ago. You also have a National Women's Soccer League game in New Jersey and an indoor WNBA game set for Brooklyn. Those were also called off on Wednesday because they have hazy conditions that have raised alarms for health authorities. The Yankees game against the White Sox was rescheduled. It's going to be a doubleheader starting at 3:05 our time on Thursday. And the Phillies game against the Tigers is reset for 5:05 our time on Thursday, which was originally an off day for both teams there. I don't know if you guys saw any pictures, but I showed Kyle one.
It's hazy, and they were showing pictures last night of the Yankees game, and it was. I briefly opened it up because I was like, "What are you talking about? Hazy? Like, why are they? Is it fog? What is it?" And so I opened it up, and I was like, "Oh, that's like literal orange skies. Yeah. What is going on?"
I just know, they never would have done this back in the old days of baseball, postponed games. So let's.
Well, I don't know. I know you're picking fun, but it's also one of the only, like the Braves last night. They're getting ready for first pitch. Neither one of the pitchers had warmed up, but then they're like, "Well, we got to check the radar real quick to see if we're gonna, throw that first pitch out." And then they come back and they delayed pretty late into the evening last night, but the game got over, I believe, before 11 o'clock, so it wasn't too terribly bad. Man, what's some other big things going on right now? Well, Leo Messi, you're a big soccer guy, and we've got about 3 minutes to kill here before we get into the next segment. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, come find us here at Dave & Buster's. If you haven't won in the last 30 days, come find us at Dave & Buster's. Find where we're at. You can even ask around, find where we're at, and we're going to hook you up with a $10 Dave & Buster's Power Card, which is worth $20 today. Plus, from now until 7 p.m., it's happy hour, which means half-price cocktails. Drew, Messi to the MLS. He's going to be playing for Inter Miami. What does this do for Major League Soccer?
It's on par with everything that MLS has done in recent years, right. in the entirety of the MLS. Like, they pretty much David Beckham came over.
Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, Ibrahimovic came over. They're trying to get their name out there and going and shooting big for those big names, but they're getting names that are on the latter end of their career.
They got John Morant as their CEO now. Oh.
they're getting players that are still great and have that name, but they're getting them on the latter end of their career. But I definitely think this will draw more attention to Miami here, and it's just going to add to a crazy amount of traffic and games and craziness that if Messi's still Messi of normal down in Miami, because you've got so many good teams down there.
Yeah, and that's what I was just about to say. Outside of that community college over in Coral Gables, like the South Florida sports is really like turned up, dude.
Yeah.
If you Jalen Ramsey to the Dolphins and all that good stuff. So us Dolphins fans are hyped. The Heat are in the finals. The Panthers are in the Stanley Cup finals.
Dude, I forgot about Jalen going to the Dolphins.
Yeah, dude. So Dolphins fans, Miami sports fans are elated right now. The Marlins are over 500. The Marlins are 3 games out of first place?
That was as of which they would still be even if they won last night. 3 games. But they're over 500 though.
They're over 500 this late in the season. They're in tune for a wild card spot. Luis Arias is on track to break some unbelievable records that we'll talk about later.
Well, I saw a stat the other day that said he went 1 for 4 in a game and it brought his average down to 401.
Yesterday he went 2 for 4 and got it back up to 401.
It's
it's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. And then you got Ellie De La Cruz making that debut last night.
And we're gonna talk some more baseball.
Talk baseball. What is this?
Do.
I'm a Reds fan, excited to talk baseball.
Oh my goodness. Justin says he won't be commenting again today. He's riding and listening though. Cheers, guys. Have a half-price drink for me. We'll see what we can get accomplished here.
Pull over every 5 minutes to comment.
Yeah, come on, Justin. No, man, we really do appreciate all the comments and topics and all of that good stuff. And you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. It's time for us to take a brief break, and when we get back from paying those bills, we're going to get into some Major League Baseball and a quick Braves update by the Break Broom.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
Head first slide, 2 RBI triple.
The tradition continues. Tonight, it's the Atlanta Braves versus the New York Mets. With Austin Riley, Ronald Acuna, Murphy, and Rosario. The Braves lineup will be loaded for Game 2. Coverage starts at 6. First pitch at 6:20. On your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Panhandle.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Wednesday afternoon. The remainder of the day, a mixture of very light showers and mostly sunshine and 81 with a gentle breeze out of the southwest around 11 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clear skies and a low near 74. Tomorrow, mostly sunny in the morning but otherwise possible thunderstorms and a high around 83. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
You want a big-time sports show? Tune in for the Afternoon Underdogs.
We're live and local here.
Weekdays from 4 till 6.
We need one more SEC team in there to shake things up.
The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're back and riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida. We got Drew in here chowing down on a ribeye. I would ask him to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, how good the ribeye was. And this was not provided by Dave & Buster's. We got
to pay for this ribeye, Drew, and it's great, man.
It's good, man. They have such
eating
good
all of
food.
it. I'm trying to say,
wonderfully.
Seasoned wonderfully. I had pretzel dogs today. They've got such underrated food out here. I think my favorite still might be I had a wrap not too long ago. That was really good stuff. But today it's been the pretzel dogs. Let's get back into some baseball. Last night, Ellie De La Cruz made his very anticipated Major League Baseball debut. I believe he went 1 for 3, had 2 walks and a strikeout to go along with that. I believe his hit was a double last night. And
112 miles an hour, the hardest hit ball by a Red this season.
And it's really going to be amazing watching this guy. But my thing is, thank you so much. Not only did Ellie have a great debut last night, but the Reds battled back in the face of adversity and beat the Dodgers. What was the final in that one? 9-8?
9-8, dude.
Wow.
It was 8-3 too, and it was dude, it just felt like a new start for the city of Cincinnati in baseball. It was wild, dude. The whole game was just, I don't know. You just knew. First of all, you knew something special was happening. Okay, because everybody in the stands. So that I think I'm going to pull up the numbers. Well, I'm going to let you talk your way through this for a second, but I want to read something that's kind of crazy, as far as comparing some stuff. So give me actually. Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Right,
I'm going to let you talk yourself.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Okay, so the previous high attendance in Great American Ballpark on a Tuesday night, the highest was 12,579 fans. Some other notable games.
That's for this year.
That's for this year.
Gotcha.
And some other Tuesday games at Great American, 13,399, just over 11,000, right under 10,000, 14,000, 14,000. Last night, 22,000 with 3 hours of notice. People drove up, some people were saying they drove up from Lexington, Kentucky as soon as they found the news. 22,000 fans, obviously a lot of Dodger fans. They pull a big fan base.
Yeah, of course.
Just like any, big market sports team does. So there were a lot of Dodgers fans there as well. But 22,000 people on a Tuesday night got there to see this. And it was incredible not only to see the moment, but to see all of the phones out in the crowd recording, Dodgers fans out there recording. People knew how big this was for baseball.
Yeah.
And I don't say things I don't believe, especially about my own teams, especially not about the Reds.
Yeah.
But, dude, this dude's baseball's next big megastar.
Yeah, and I really do hope it is. I can't wait till Friday because I get to kind of mess with AG about this. Adam was, he called into the Inside Drive yesterday and was saying this is the biggest news in sports right now. And I'm like,
disagree with that, but
but he made a very sound argument to why it could be.
Yeah.
And like you just said, baseball's next biggest star. The problem with that is, as what Bill said yesterday on the Inside Drive, was that all right, but even the biggest thing in baseball is still not the biggest things in sports, which kind of sucks, but it's one of those things. It's like an is what it is thing. But man, look at O'Neal Cruz, 6'7", but he only hits from one side of the plate.
Yeah.
And they're both really fast guys, and can you imagine some of those Pirates-Reds games here in the future, especially once Ellie kind of gets his footing and starts, because right now he's playing third base, filling in for Sensel because Matt McClain had the winning hit last night.
Yep.
And as you guys, I mean, it's crazy.
One of our 4 Rookie of the Year candidates.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you look at the Braves last year, Michael Harris, and you look at Spencer Strider, right? And the explosion that they had, and they were 1-2 right there in the National League voting. The Reds are doubling that, and it is impressive. And it's great for the Reds, and I think that it's great for baseball to see that we still get so excited for these young guys when they're making their big league debuts.
It's awesome, man. It's just everything feels so good for Cincinnati Reds fans right now, especially being in that division that is so not good right now. You wouldn't think that there's this much optimism coming out of a series where you just lost 3 of 4 with a chance to take over first place, but it feels good, man. You had the Dodgers coming to town, who might be the hottest team in the National League right now, and you get down 8-3, and you never give up, and you win the game 9-8. That's absolutely huge. You didn't give up another run, and 2 hits after the 4th inning to the Dodgers. And it just feels good, bro. I'm excited right now. For the first time, I'm talking happy about Reds baseball in June, and we're 5 games below 500.
That's the most insane part about it.
Yeah.
And I know going into Kyle talks badly about his teams. Whenever his teams aren't doing so hot, he's way down in the dumps about them. And I remember back going into the season, he was like, "Oh, this is going to be another dumpster fire of a season."
I actually never said that.
No, he said it's going to be a cruel summer.
Yeah, no, I said that the Reds are still going to be bad, but they're going to be better than people think. They're not people were saying they're going to go 59-103, and I was like, that's what they did last year, and they had the worst start in baseball history.
100-something.
Right. No, they're going to win 75 games this year.
I like that, man. And I like it for the Central too, because the Central is kind of one of those divisions that you don't look at as being great, but it's it's very tightly compacted right now.
Yeah, it's definitely packed in there with all the teams, and they're all jockeying for position, trying to figure out who they are, because everybody thought the Brewers and the Cardinals were going to be running away with things, and they're just not.
The Cardinals cannot find themselves, and I think it really boils down to I think there's a couple of things. You lose Yadier Molina, and that has a huge effect on your battery. You don't believe in Wilson Contreras, your guy that you brought in to replace him, and then your starting pitching is garbage as it is, or not living up to expectations, I guess we can say that. And so man, Cardinals just they've been like, what in the world's going on with your type of team this year?
Then you got the hot upstart Reds, hot upstart Pirates. Like, okay, let's see what happens. Let's let it rock and roll.
No doubt. Is there another division right now where you're kind of scratching your head? Because like American League, I think the National League East is a division that you're kind of scratching your head at. Maybe not at the top number 1 spot, but like what's going on with the Phillies, what's going on with the Mets type of deal. The American League East, you already knew what that was going to be.
I'm scratching my head a little bit at the 1 spot, just only because how are they doing it with all
the injuries?
How are they doing it with all the injuries? And they don't, after 1 through 5, the bottom of the lineup is not the best. So it's amazing to see how the Braves. Maybe it's because the other teams are down a little bit. Maybe it's that. I don't think so.
That's kind of one of my.
That's what happens when you build a winning culture.
Right, and I totally agree with that. I guess my biggest thing is that if the Braves, the Mets, or the Phillies, any one of those 3 were in the top 3. Or we're in the top position in the NL East, you're not really scratching your head there as much. But what makes me scratch my head with the National League East is that it's the Marlins, number 2, who are above 500. The Mets sitting under 500 as of yesterday, at 30 and now 30 and 31 now. But a
and
big.
then the Phillies at 29-32. Like,
yeah, and these are teams like I know that they're going to turn around. I know that they're going to turn it around. There's, you don't got. You don't got to think too much for that, right?
They've still got, all summer long to go.
They've got great rosters, too.
I didn't notice you unmuted me. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. You're good.
We're good.
That's my fault. But, speaking of the Braves last night, Braves update brought to you by The Break Room. Today's special is chicken pot pie. Thursday special is hamburger steak. And Friday specials, air fried chicken. All of these specials are just $12. They also come with a drink and a side. And they run these specials until supplies last. The Braves update brought to you by The Break Room last night. Had a good outing from Bryce Elder, who had a little words with Pete Alonso after he hit a big-time shot. Then whenever I was in the third inning, when Pete Alonso hit it, he hit it 448 feet, gets back into the dugout and says, throw it again. And that was the last time he got a hit that night. At that point in time, the Mets were up 4-1, and then a barrage of runs from the Bravos in the sixth inning, the bottom of the sixth inning there. The Braves left the bottom of the sixth with a 5-4 lead, and then Ozuna, getting things done, even though if it's just a little ground out. He scored Rosario in to get them the 6-4 win, and this might have been the worst outing from Bryce Elder of the year to this point, and he still comes away with the win. So that's really good on the Braves offense to kind of help your pitcher out when he's been the stud for us this year, been the stud for the Braves, and he gave up 4 runs, which has been uncharacteristic. I believe he had a sub-2 ERA going into that game last night, but a great outing from him. Another scoreless inning from Jesse Chavez is a great thing as well. You were talking about the attendance though, and I had no idea until I'm seeing this last night. The attendance for the Braves on a Tuesday night was 37,300, and I know it's totally different. No, culture, yeah. Well, that's what's helped get the roster to this point as well. And so, if you see the Reds going in that direction, you hope that the owners are taking that money that they're getting from all of the fans and pumping that back into the franchise.
More bobbleheads.
There you go. There you go, for real.
And something we were looking up. I was looking up different MLB stuff here a minute ago, and something interesting. You were talking about what kind of division are you head scratching about, and me being an Astros fan, I've got to look at the AL West and see the Texas Rangers at number 1.
Without DeGrom, right?
Without DeGrom.
Who's out for the year?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can't say
the craziest thing.
That's the least shocking news I've seen in baseball this week.
This is the craziest stat. They are on a historic pace. This was as of, these standings are as of June 5th, before the start of games. They have a historic pace on run differential right now. At that time, they had a plus 152 run differential. The next closest is Tampa Bay with a plus 122. That is just absolutely insane.
Wait, the Rangers are above the Rays now?
In run differential?
Yeah.
They are plus, Rangers have plus 152.
Wow. Holy cow.
And the Rays have plus 122.
We swept them out of Cincinnati.
Right. But they're a quality ball club this year, man. And I think it's good for the West, too. But it's bad for Shohei Ohtani if he wants to be an Angel.
According to ESPN Stats and Info, the Rangers have had 16 games in which they've scored 10 or more runs. This is tied for the most through the first 60 games in a season, where they joined the 1936 Yankees and 1999 Mariners.
Wow.
Holy cow.
That is some really good stuff, man. And I love crazy stats. That's one of my favorite follows on Twitter is ESPN Sports Stats and Info. Tonight, man, you got an old head pitching matchup tonight between the Mets and the Braves. Max Scherzer, 5-2 record, 3.21 ERA, going up against Charlie Morton, who's had. I mean, he's kind of showing his age a little bit. He's 5-6 with an ERA, not a terrible ERA, 3.62, but not the greatest. And that first pitch tonight is going to be at 6:20. Coverage starting right here on ESPN Northwest Florida at 6 o'clock. We'll get to some of the scores of what's going on today or what's already transpired. The A's, I believe that's 2 games in a row now. They've taken down the Pirates. 9-5 was the final there. And then the Padres are jumping all over the Mariners right now. 8-0 in the bottom of the 5th inning. So lots of baseball still to go today. Tomorrow will be travel day, so not as many games. One thing I wanted to ask you, do we have anything else on baseball outside of, I know that we've talked about it, but Luis Arias and like the tear that he's on hitting over 400?
No, I had a stat thing to compare him like through the first 444 games of their career, but I don't have it pulled up. So
you're good, man. That's
just unheard of.
It really is. And then, each night it's kind of getting a little bit closer, and he's very underrated in what it is that he's doing. So Ryan Spader, I've had him on the show before. Marlins Luis Arias had 500. This is through 444 career games, 524 hits for Luis Arias, with a slash line of 324, 383, and 419. For Tony Gwynn, he had 526 hits. He was his batting average was 324, 374 OBP, and slugging at 411. And then for Pete Rose, I mean, you're talking about being mentioned with Tony Gwynn and Pete Rose. 506 hits for Pete Rose. So Luis has got him there. 286 batting average. Luis has got him there. 347 OBP. Luis has got him there. And then a 385 slugging percentage there for Pete Rose. And Luis has got him there at 419.
So you're talking about literally better than the Heat hit king to this stage in their career.
Yeah, to this stage in his career, and that's the hardest part about baseball, but there's no one else mentioned with those 2 other names, which I find to be absolutely amazing. We're getting close to a timeout here. Got to pay some bills. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and you're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. 3 great local shows starting Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. with the Coach James Hale Show, the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley. That's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then we wrap your afternoons up locally here with the Afternoon Underdogs. We'll be right back. Y'all keep it locked in to ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The tradition continues.
That ball's going to be out of here.
America's team plays here.
Bombs away.
The Atlanta Braves are back and making a statement.
Ronald Acuna just clobbered one to left.
Listen to Atlanta Braves baseball in a rich audio experience live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here comes the thunder.
Sponsored by Billboard Kia, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, Stormore Portable Buildings, and Brock Pest Control.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Wednesday afternoon. The remainder of the day, a mixture of very light showers and mostly sunshine, and 81 with a gentle breeze out of the southwest around 11 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clear skies and a low near 74. Tomorrow, mostly sunny in the morning, but otherwise possible thunderstorms and a high around 83. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Medicare may be confusing, but it doesn't have to be. My name is Michael Denniston. I'm an agent producer authorized to offer AARP Medicare plans from United Healthcare Insurance Company right here in Panama City. I'd be happy to help you better understand Medicare, your coverage options, and discover what may make AARP Medicare plans from United Healthcare a great choice for you. Call me today, Michael Denniston, 850-271-4389. That's 850-271-4389, so you can decide on a plan with confidence. That's 850-271-4389. Michael Denniston. Thank you.
United Healthcare Insurance Company or an affiliate pays royalty fees to AARP. AARP is not an insurer and does not employ or endorse agents, producers, or brokers. AARP encourages you to consider your needs when selecting products and does not make product recommendations for individuals.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. He entered a kids' 1 mile fun run and came in 9th. David Hayes is part of the Afternoon Underdogs. Weekdays 4 to 6 on ESPN Northwest Florida and the ESPN Northwest Florida app.
are back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on 104.3 right here in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe, the Forgotten Coast. Game 3 is tonight of the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets of the NBA Finals. We're going to dive into that here in the next segment, but this segment, as we always do at 5 o'clock, didn't have it planned for today. We were actually going to do it at 4:20, and things went awry, but we're going to get into our Would You Rather segment. I'm a little sad that Amanda can't join us here for this one, but she's been working, busting her tail all morning long out here, morning and afternoon long out here at Dave & Buster's, but she'll be on the show with us for a little while tomorrow afternoon back there at the studio. Little Would You Rather here. Let's go with this one first, all right? Pick one player that played for your college football team and put them on this year's team.
Well, as an FSU fan, I think the one big weakness that we're going to have is in the secondary, so I'll take Jalen Ramsey.
Okay, that's a great one. That's a great one. What do you got, Drew?
As an LSU fan, I will also go in the secondary, and I will take, I got so many good choices. Tyrann Mathieu.
Oh, the Honey Badger.
You got the two schools who really have like the real debate for DBU.
Part of me wants Pat Pete because dude was just a baller at corner, but I want the versatility from Tyrann to be able to, because all he does is, ball, that's mine now. Bye.
Yeah, I was kind of going between like Jalen and Thurwin, really, because like safety is a big thing, a big need for FSU right now. Like,
and I know he didn't pan out in the NFL, but Morris Claiborne was
this had nothing to do with NFL.
Really good at LSU. Right. Picked 17th overall. He went to the Cowgirls, but
that's why his career didn't pan out.
My answer is actually going to be a guy who
Mount Cody.
I'm going with no. Well, because look, really and truthfully, I have no idea how the season is going to be for Alabama. But if there's one noticeable sticking out,
Brandon Miller,
quarterback.
Sorry, go ahead.
Tua.
Quarterback. No, so I wouldn't go with Tua.
You bring Bryce?
I wouldn't go with Bryce. Wouldn't go with Mac Jones.
Joe Namath,
AJ
really?
McCarron. No, I almost thought about going Joe Davis, but I'm like, I don't know if the mobility would would be there these days. But yeah, no, I think I would go with AJ McCarron, man. I would still say that outside of Brody Croyle and Brody Croyle was just my favorite because I was a kid when he was a quarterback and everybody wanted the hair like him and all of that good stuff, even John Parker Wilson, but neither one of those guys really held a candle to what AJ McCarron and some of these last four quarterbacks have done for Alabama there. So I would go with AJ McCarron. I think that would be I think it would be fun at least for the year, and who knows, I mean, I can't tell you, I can't call it what Alabama's going to be this year until I see three games. Everything's different when you whole new offense running.
Yeah, I need y'all to bring Blake Sims back.
There you go.
Coker.
There you go. I mean, but look what happened with those guys, though. I mean, it's not like much dropped off when you went to Blake Sims or with Coker, man. I liked Jay Coker a lot too, bro. But again, like, how many guys do you have on your college football teams that you're like, I don't really care for this guy? Normally it's transfers or they came from somewhere else or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one guy who I probably wasn't too fond of last year was Jermaine Burton, the wide receiver that transferred from Georgia, but he's back with us this year, so we'll see. And the game that he had in the bowl game against Kansas State was like, where was this all year? What did we just not want to lose to Georgia in the national championship and you guys tanked this season? Like, and obviously I'm joking because the losses were so close that you couldn't say that they were tanking those out. But man, dude, what a performance he had in the bowl game. Let's go to, well, what game would you want to be on the cover of? What game would you want to be on the cover of? I was going to boil this down to NCAA or Madden, but no, there's too many games out there, and if you want to go outside of sports, I'm okay with it. Like, if you want to be on the cover of Star Wars Battlefront, then that's okay with me.
Put me in an X-Wing.
I'm a big football guy. Football's been my life from the very beginning. So to me, it boils down to Madden or NCAA, but I'm going to go with NCAA just because recently we haven't had it, and I think it would mean more in my head to see myself on it and be like, okay, I'm not necessarily the one that brought it back, but I think it'd be cool to be on an NCAA game.
See, I was actually going to go with this is kind of more of a funny answer. NBA 2K to be one of the first white people on there. But Luka's already been on there, so that kind of just crushed my dreams.
White
right
American
there.
though. White American.
There you go. No, I think it would be Major League Baseball, the show, just because that was the sport that I loved the most, especially growing up. So yeah, that or create like a fishing game or something and put me on there with Tim Braddock.
Like it. I was going to go Roller Coaster Tycoon for myself is what I was saying.
Oh, dude, I loved that game, bro. I love Roller Coaster Tycoon. Did y'all not like that game?
I loved it.
I could see him with the top hat and everything.
Yeah. Like the Monopoly.
The Monopoly dude.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the real answer, MLB The Show, growing up being a big baseball player and, hitting dingers like I do even to this day on the Glizzy Boys. I just think that would be a really good.
A big baseball player,
big B-I-G.
Hey, well,
Finally
I mean,
famous.
There you go. So good answers there. If you're running a Major League Baseball club, which would you rather have? Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani. We've asked a form of this question before, but Aaron Judge, Shohei, baseball's best farm system, which I think you could say analytically speaking the Dodgers, but what the Reds are doing right now, I think they might have somewhat of an argument there, or baseball's analytics.
It's really exciting. And so being a Reds fan, I'm going to go with the best farm system just because it's been rewarding to be like, hey, bring this guy up, man. What are you guys waiting on? So we did this with Matty McClain. You finally got Matt McClain up. Matt McClain's hitting over 320 in the bigs already. We did this with Andrew Abbott. Okay, all right, dude, our starters are struggling. Andrew Abbott's been incredible in AA and AAA this year. It's time, dude. It's time. You got these other bums making starts. Give him a shot. He comes up, pitches 6 one-hit innings. Ellie De La Cruz. It's like, what are we doing? Why is he still down there at this point? What are we really starting Kevin Newman on third base? Come on. And it happens. And so I think watching these guys over a 3 or 4 year span finally get on your team, that would be my pick.
Okay.
I was trying to make an argument for either Aaron Judge or Shohei, but in my head I can't make it make sense because Shohei hasn't been on a winning team.
Okay.
And Aaron Judge hasn't won anything. They've been close, but they haven't won anything.
Mm-hmm. Have they been close?
And CS's, ALCS's, but they've lost to Houston. But I'm going to go with best analytics because as good as the best farm team might be, it's working out in the Reds' favor, but those guys don't always pan out.
Oh, yeah.
Right. We have a very analytical head coach, too.
Analytically wise, yes, I know it's not as said and done and point and click as that, but I feel like you have more of a chance at putting players in a better position rather than saying, okay, you were really good at this level, let's try it out here.
Caveman says Shohei, if he puts butts in seats and he plays both ways extremely well. For me, and I wanted to kind of go over the at the preseason, or when we were in preseason, the number one squad, and they will have a midseason rank as well. But the Baltimore Orioles have had really the best farm system since 2021. 2021 midseason, they were ranked. And of course, we're talking about rankings here, which how often does that always play out? But look, it's definitely playing out for the Orioles. I don't think anyone can argue about that. No. Number 2 is the Dodgers. Number 3 is the Diamondbacks. So 3 teams right there, back to back. That it's working out for the Cleveland Guardians, who last year midseason were sitting at number 3, but 2022 preseason were sitting at number 12, coming at 4, and then your Cincinnati Reds are sitting at number 5, and last year midseason they were 4. They've actually ascended very largely. They were preseason 2021, they were sitting at 20.
Nice.
And then you got Ellie De La Cruz, Noelvi Marte, Edwin Arroyo, and Cam Collier, which hometown
boy,
hometown
right down
hero.
There,
so
didn't you trade a whole lot of people at that point?
Yeah, so
the Eugenio and Suarez and all that.
The Noelvi Marte kid we got for Castillo, Christian Encarnacion Strand and Spencer Steer got them for Tyler Malley, which was just probably the biggest screw job in Major League Baseball history that we pulled off on the Twins. I mean, our GM's he's a genius. Too bad our owners are idiots. But our GM's a genius.
I'm scrolling, looking for the Atlanta Bravos right now.
Oh, their farm system is not good.
No, it was for a while,
For
and
a little bit, yeah.
they've turned them all into pros now. Philly's sitting there at 21.
But that's why the outfield is a head scratcher for the Braves. That's why they haven't gotten rid of Ozuna. They don't have anybody knocking the door down.
Dead last. The Braves are dead last in the Major League Baseball farm system right now, and they have 0 prospects in the top 100.
Did you see the trash cans?
Oh, let's see where they're at. They're kind
probably
of
middle of the road.
Yeah, they are about middle of the road.
Should be in jail.
Should be in jail. Let me scroll back down here a little bit more. I'll have to scroll up now because I didn't see them in the bottom 20 there.
I can look it up later.
Yeah, that'll work then.
I don't
because
think anybody cares.
Yeah, right. Why was I spending so much time on only? He said no one cares, and then I'm just reiterating that. Like, why did I even take all that time searching for a team that no one cares about? There you go, Drewski. No, that's so for me. I said all of that to say this is that it seems like the best farm. Everyone in baseball is overusing analytics to this point. So to have baseball's best analytics, I mean, it's going to be such a razor thin margin. To have the best farm system, though, takes a lot of patience and effort and due diligence and all of that stuff. Shohei, I loved your reasoning on Shohei. Is like, what you've got the greatest guy in the game, and I think that we can say that having Shohei is going to put more tails in the seats than what having the best farm system is. So if that's your end goal, then I love the pick for Shohei. Aaron Judge, again, he's a great piece on any offense. But, I don't think that he's going to do it for me because farm system is setting me up for the future. And if I need to change my mind and go right now, then these guys are gone right now, and I'm bringing in other talent.
Right.
So I'm going to go with the farm system as well. But if you went with any of the other three, I'm 100% cool with that. Who would you rather have a brew with, Barry Bonds or Pete Rose?
Ooh, well, I would rather Pete Rose be my bookie. So I think obviously, as a Reds fan, Pete Rose.
What about for you?
Something intrigues me about Barry Bonds. I just want to kind of have a chat with him, just talk to him.
Yeah, it would be fun. It sure would be. Yeah, I'm just saying, like it would be like you'd come back a lot bigger.
For me, I think I would go Barry Bonds as well, just because I feel like I know that I don't, but I feel like I've read more and learned more kind of about Pete Rose and less about Barry Bonds. So for me, it would be Barry Bonds, just because, and I'd like to really talk to him more about the Pirates, and then that kind of in between, like what changed for you when you went to the Giants, and then you weighed this much and you had this much muscle mass. When I wouldn't. Do you think that either of you guys would have the cojones to like actually talk to Barry Bonds about, and not as like a reporter style, or not in the name of a journalist, but just like,
I think if we're in like a guy to guy, like guys can have that conversation with each other like that. I would definitely be like, so like, do you have stretch marks from your head growing 12 sizes in 10 years?
But
why just take over?
I will. There's a
I will.
I will.
There's an Instagram account that I follow, and it was every now and then they'll post like random Barry Bonds stats, and it's just absolutely insane. Some of the stats that they've talked about and that they've brought up. I'll look some up during the break, but it's just insane.
Have you seen the picture of Barry Bonds sitting on the edge of that bed? I'll show it to you during the break as well.
The coach's daughter says, put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
Yes,
Shout out
ma'am.
to Leanne Swartzentrooper. Hey, come on, Leanne. Why is she out here at Dave & Buster's hanging out with us?
On the boat, probably.
Oh, no, it can't be Show Island Day already.
Can't be a show.
You never know.
Dude. She's rich.
We're still looking for that party out there, coach's daughter, as Kyle Albert would always say. Yeah. No doubt. Cam Newton or Joe Burrow in their national championship year. So 2019 for Joe Burrow and 2010 for Cam Newton.
So for Drew, I know it's going to be easy. I thought about this for a minute, and I think obviously LSU was the much better team, but I think Cam Newton's season was bigger for their school. Just because Auburn has, they got there once since, but they haven't really won like in ages around that. You know what I mean? So I think that Cam's was more important.
I'm going to take Cam Newton because you look at the pieces that were around him. You look at Joe Burrow. Yes, he still had to make the plays. Yes, he still had to do everything. But
NFL
he had
talent everywhere.
NFL talent everywhere. That were around Cam Newton. He had nobody. And dude, game numbers. He was doing it both with his arm and his legs. He was he was the first of that kind that came out like that. So
especially being as big as what he was.
Exactly. So to me, I would rather Cam Newton's.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I want to be different here, be different and go with Joe Burrow. But you guys nailed you hit the nail on the head, 100%. All of the how many guys do you remember from that 2010 Auburn squad?
Michael Dyer,
right? I mean, there's just not many.
Kevin White.
I'm sure that
was after.
If I started going through the roster, I'm sure that some of the players you guys would absolutely recognize. But when you look at that 2019 LSU team, there was a ton of talent on that squad. So I'd have to go with Cam Newton. All right, so this is kind of like a Freddie Freeman, not necessarily a Freddie Freeman, Matt Olson question, but it's along those lines. Would you rather have a guy who hits 300 but it's all singles, or 250 with 40 big shots?
Man, it just depends on where they're at in the lineup. I know that's really vague, but Freddie Freeman being the two-hitter is more valuable to me than, you know what I mean? Because your two-hitter, their goal is to get on base.
Yeah.
Like that's, I mean, obviously you knock the guy in if your leadoff guy gets on, but you're in the two-hole, you're not supposed to hit 40 blasts. So give me the average.
I'd rather have a guy who gets on base because too much of today's ball game is home run or strikeout.
Yeah.
Too much. Yeah. And I know I'm probably going to catch some flack for this, but a lot of what propelled the Astros to be better was cutting down on the strikes.
Cutting down on the strikes, or two bangs on the trash can?
There you go. There's the flag. Insert flag. But if you go back and look at the stats, yes, trash cans were involved, but
their road splits were just
big,
as well. Yeah,
big, very, very much different from one year to the next. After we had brought in a couple different guys to figure out, hey, let's actually play baseball instead of only swinging for the home run and selling out at every single pitch.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, Matt Olson's sitting there fourth in the National League with 17 home runs and 43 RBIs, which is a great thing. But you got Freddie Freeman, who's, I said 300, right? But Freddie Freeman's actually hitting 331 right now, which is just absolutely crazy. And he's having a heck of a season. And it's just, it's one of those things that I'm like, Freddie Freeman, dude, but I still got him on my fantasy team, and he's a heck of a ball player. There's no doubt about that. No, you're good.
What's crazy is that, like, if you look at the National League's projected all-star starters, it's like Ozzie Albies, and then it's like Freddie Freeman, and it's Dansby Swanson,
it's like
and it's Ronald Acuna.
It's like the old
It's wild. It's wild. Think about how good that team was.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And the best player in the National League this year, Ronald Acuna, was not even a part of it, really.
Yeah, he was not a part. No, he wasn't.
Not
he was
all. It's getting there, kind of.
He was a part of the start.
Right.
If this was a NASCAR race or whatever, he got to like stage 2, but stage 3 and or the final stage there, he wasn't a part of it because of his injuries. So there is that. I would rather take give me, for this particular instance for the Braves, because of Matt Olson hits in the 2 spot as well, but I like him there as give me the home run guy for this particular instance. I'm cool with that. All right, we'll move on to another one. Oh my gosh, it's actually already time for a break. Maybe we'll come back and do a couple of these. Also wanted to talk about a new face that could be joining the Titans. He will be visiting the Titans this Sunday, and we'll talk about that when we return and see what other things in the NFL we could be talking about. Oh, and our go-to-goes. That's going to be the most important thing. And we skipped over our top 5 at 5, Dave and Buster's games, all of that good stuff. We're missing out on all of it. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't touch that dial.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
Head first slide to RBI triple.
The tradition continues. Tonight, it's the Atlanta Braves versus the New York Mets with Austin Riley, Ronald Acuna, Murphy, and Rosario. The Braves lineup will be loaded for Game 2. Cover starts at 6. First pitch at 6:20. On your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Panhandle.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Wednesday's weather forecast. Mostly clear tonight with a low near 75 and a wind between 5 to 10 miles per hour. A chance of thunderstorms and some sun tomorrow morning and a temperature of 84. About the same in the afternoon and evening around 84 with possible thunderstorms and mostly sunshine. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
By now, you've heard us talking about Tiger TV Pro. Hi, David Hayes from the Afternoon Underdogs, here to remind you about this incredible streaming service with over 6,000 premium channels. And the cost, you ask? $15 a month. Yes, only $15 a month. Every sports channel is available, including the ACC and SEC network, the NFL, NBA, MLB, HBO, Showtime, and thousands more. For more info, go to our website at espnpc.com. Scroll down and click the Tiger logo.
Chuck was terrible at fishing. He spent many frustrating hours attempting to get results he saw from internet videos, aggravating trial and error fishing trips, and misguided advice from well-intended friends. Chuck is happy now with his newfound success after he visited Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, where we keep fishing fun, simple, and successful. See us soon at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Call in with your questions, hot takes, and rants at 850-215-6290.
Now, I'm sure that most of you have used a dial telephone before.
The Sports Talk Monster.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And you're back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sit down, Drew.
You can find us on 104.3 right here in Panama City and 101.9 the Forgotten Coast in Port St. Joe. Played a little Would You Rather there in this last segment, and we're going to move on to what we've got with the GOAT of GOATs. But you wanted to do the top 5 video games, or we save that for 5 o'clock next week with a little Would You Rather?
We'll do it at 5 o'clock next week.
All right, that sounds like a plan. Now, I did say something about a wide receiver that's visiting Tennessee this Sunday. Real quickly here, DeAndre Hopkins is going to be visiting the Titans on Sunday. That's his first NFL team that he's going to be visiting, but yeah, I highly doubt he signs with them. I think it would be great for the Titans. I don't think that it moves the needle that much for the Titans, but I don't know if it would be great for DeAndre Hopkins unless he wants to be a number one wide receiver still, like a true number one. Then I think Tennessee is the place for him. So
yeah, he's an instant number one in Tennessee.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the only other option is Traylon Burks, really, as far as like who's going to be the number one. So let's get into the go-to-goes, though. We kind of broke it down. We finally got the bracket.
Man, it's set.
The bracket is set. It is what it is at this point. So next week we're going to be, do we put the votes out on, or do we put the thing out on Friday, or do we put it out on Monday? How are we trying to do it? Are we trying to do once a day? What's the way that we want to do it this year?
Once a day is going to be a little tough for you and I to keep up with.
Yep. We could just do like every Monday. We could do like 4 or something like that.
I think that would probably end up being, or post like a whole region one Monday.
Yeah,
like at least for the first round, like a whole bunch of them. We'll get together on that. I think that's stay tuned. We'll have an official.
Run it for the week. You want to run it for a couple hours? Run it for
I think 30
couple
minutes.
days.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Yeah. We'll get 3 or 4 votes, and then we'll move on from there. No, we're gonna figure that out.
Yeah.
But I do. If we're going to release, then we release next Wednesday and we do it once a week or whatever. I think for so many of them, maybe doing it once a week there. But I do want to take a look at some of these matchups and just kind of juxtapose what we think could happen.
Yeah, I mean, so, obviously I'm going to fill this out on a cleaner bracket and get it a little more legible.
So other people can read it?
So other people can read it. Just because it was a quick thing David and I did today. We finally took the time and we laid it down. We got it done. But there's some really interesting matchups in the first round. I'm just going to go through a couple of them. Obviously, we took we tried to do the remakes and some direct sequels. We tried to do those against each other. So we got Space Jam and Space Jam 2 up against each other in this first bracket. We've got Goon versus Benchwarmers, which I think is like an all-time comedy type of matchup right there, which is going to be kind of fun. Game Plan versus Like Mike will be really interesting.
Game Plan is the one that I'm trying to. I don't think I've ever seen that one. You said that's got The Rock in it.
The Rock and
Rosario Dawson.
The girls.
Rosario Dawson.
Exactly.
Love
there you go.
Ahsoka Tano, baby. In the next bracket, you've got the 76 Bad News Bears and the 05 Bad News Bears against each other.
I think that's gonna be a good one, man, because then we're kind of, which one is y'all's favorite out of these two? It's out of our hands unless it ends up being a tie at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite matchups is in this bracket, the Replacements against Moneyball. That one's going to be a really fun matchup to be able to see how people feel about it. You've got Bull Durham. Bull Durham.
Got it stuck in your head.
I did it again.
Bill Durham.
You got Bull Durham against White Men Can't Jump in this bracket as well.
That's going to be a good one, man, because it's both of those movies are absolute classics. I think that it's going to come down to the sport that you like the most.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you come down to just the slap shot making the bracket there at the last second against Coach Carter.
Wait, who is that?
What?
Who's going up against Coach Carter?
Slapshot
going up against. Oh yeah, I told you, Caveman Rick, we were gonna get that one in. What we took out some mystery.
Yeah, so it was Mystery Alaska was the name of that one we took out. And then you go over into this other bracket just to highlight some big matchups in the first round. This obviously is not all of them, but Major League versus the Perfect Game. That's
gonna be really tough for me. It's gonna be a Major League, but that's the beauty of it is it's not about who's talking on the air. It's about who's listening. Y'all make the choices.
Exactly. Hoosiers versus Gridiron Gang is a big one in that one, and then of course Ali versus The Natural. That's
going to be a tough one too, because Ali, I don't think that there's really much of a question. Ali is a little bit more fast-paced than what The Natural is, but if you like the old school movies and that one tugs at your heartstrings, then you might roll with The Natural there.
You might. And then in the next bracket, the final bracket, if you will, you end up with the Will Ferrell first round. It's Talladega Nights versus Blades of Glory.
Which was probably my favorite matchup of the whole entire bracket.
Yeah, mine too. You got Rudy versus the Karate Kid. You've got the Rookie versus Bagger Vance, and then
that one's tough for me because if it was my choice, the Rookie is winning the whole thing.
And then, in my opinion, this might be the toughest matchup in the first round. You've got Radio versus the Mighty Ducks. And that is I couldn't tell,
that
even
one?
In my head right now, if I'm sitting here doing this, this might have to literally be the old March Madness coin flip.
Yeah, no doubt. For me, the nostalgia just automatically goes to Mighty Ducks. But then when I think about the movie Radio, I'm like, that was a really good movie.
Right.
I'm Miles, and that was easy.
that was easy. He's already filled out his whole bracket, ladies and gentlemen. Drew Gorman.
Radio all day.
Airbuds in the final.
There we go. Give us what's our next matchup here we're looking at?
Rocky versus the Express, the Ernie Davis story.
Ooh,
that's a big one as well. Just to go, maybe pick another one out here.
See, that's one that I've got to. That's one of the ones that I still got to watch. I've checked out quite a few of them. Slapshot was one that, Caveman Rick, I'm going to say it's a good movie. It is a good movie, but to me, Goon is. That's why I can't be the barometer for these things because I'm picking funny over serious 99.9.9.9% of the time. I just made up a number, y'all.
We can make our case, right? We can make our case in these arguments and, maybe try to sway the votes, if you will.
Yeah.
Just because, you look at this Dodgeball versus King Richard matchup. I think the consensus is going to be Dodgeball, but King Richard won an Oscar. Got over a little overshadowed by the slap in the same night.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
King Richard is an Oscar-winning movie.
It was a good movie. I watched that one for sure. It's it's got that serious twinge in it, you know, or that serious, feel to it and everything. And Will Smith did a great job in it. But it's also one of those anything that's tied to a real story is one that I'm like, man, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So on this, whenever we're voting, are we doing back how we did with Right On, where we vote if it's close, that's where we get a say?
Yeah.
Or,
I think so.
Or are we just leaving it up?
If you were listening in the last 10 minutes, then yeah, you would know that. Yeah. That's what we're doing.
We haven't said that.
I've said it. Here, and I'll run the tape back for you after the show.
Appreciate that.
We're gonna we're listening to the whole show right here in this room. No one can come in the room that we're in until we're done. No, I'm just
as long as I order more dogs.
Yeah, there you go. Get some more pretzel dogs. No doubt about it.
Get another ribeye.
There you go.
I will have that third steak.
I will.
What's next?
Man, so I'll just go pick another random one out here. Invincible versus Trouble with the Curve.
I think that I'm a Trouble with the Curve on that one. I think Invincible. What is that one again?
Wahlberg.
I don't know now.
Yeah,
the kid from Philly.
If I could just see, if we're doing video games, I'm good. I don't need no help. Like, I know what it is I like and everything. With movies, it's like, hold my hand and take, let me remember this.
And it's a blessing and a curse with how we did it.
Yeah.
With so many different genres, so many different sports. It's a blessing and a curse because on one hand, you're sitting there and you're going, okay, yeah, we've got to include everybody.
Yeah.
But it's a curse because you're sitting there, you're comparing, in this instance, we're comparing a football movie with a baseball movie.
Right.
And that's just barely scratching the surface of the two movies. In some of these, we've got a funny baseball movie against a serious football movie.
Right.
Or a basketball movie or a boxing movie. It's just absolutely insane what we've been able to put together, and I can't wait to see it turn out.
Yeah, I'm excited. If I had to make a prediction for the final, I wish I had a copy of the bracket for you guys, but maybe I'll definitely have you one. I'll give this to David to take back with him.
Or what we could do is you could we could come back with what we think is going to be our top 4 in the next segment. We can take the
take the time
next
to look
segment
it over.
and look it over and just give who's going to be our final 4 for it, because and it is one of those things like Caveman Rick said, you're forgetting a couple of movies, like, hey, no doubt, and we know that.
So make your own list.
Well, no, that's not where I was kind of getting at. It's like when we're talking about this off the air, though, we already know, like, look, something's going to get left off. Like, it's 64 and there's so many good sports movies. Every time I get on Netflix and I go to the sports and fitness or whatever category, and this is just one streaming service or whatever, I'm like, golly, there's so many movies that we're missing. Like, so don't get me wrong, Caveman, I'm thinking the same thing all the time, like, but it's just impossible to get every single one unless we were to do a top 1,000. Now, I don't got the time for that. 64 is wild to me.
This 65 has been a 4-week process, so.
Caveman says, I know I'm just making content and controversy. Hey, that's Caveman, baby.
Hey, we love it, man. We're here to make people think, make people talk about us, and let's do it.
And talk with us, yeah, no doubt about it, man. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Next year, video games, too bad we can't do it this year, but I don't think that's going to be just a whole nother element to all of this. So
those are going to probably be harder to do.
Yeah, no doubt.
Another one I want to just point out real quick. I just had it. You got. I'm so sorry. I had it right there. I had it.
It just swam away.
Little Giants.
Little flutters.
Yeah, Little Giants versus Field of Dreams.
That's going to be
That's an underrated first round matchup.
Why did y'all do that to us?
I didn't.
That's
I did it to
two movies that.
You want to know what Angels in the Outfield got matched up against?
Oh, good Lord!
You want to know? We Are Marshall.
Oh, I hate it here.
And I love Little Giants, man. But We Are Marshall. That's a great one. That's going to be really tough for me. That's going to be tough. I think the toughest is who's Bagger Vance got.
Bagger Vance has got the rookie.
The rookie. That's the toughest for me, because when we say the rookie, we're not talking about rookie of the year,
which didn't make it in here
somehow, some way. But the rookie, when that movie came out, I was living down in St. Pete, so that was kind of like a big story.
That was Quaid, right?
Yeah, Dennis Quaid. Yeah, pitching. He had that classic scene where he's throwing up against the
speed limit sign.
Yeah, the speed limit sign. That's one of my favorite memories in all of movies, which goes to show you I don't have a very deep.
Another underrated first round matchup: Rudy against the Karate Kid.
Ooh, Rudy versus the Karate Kid.
Fun one.
See, that's for me. I think if I'm choosing right now without even like kind of going back and trying to remember them or anything, I would go with Karate Kid just because I watched Rudy twice that I can remember, and it's a great movie. But again, just
to see how far
I like the Karate Kid.
Yeah, to see how far Karate Kid's gone with
Cobra Kai and all that stuff.
Anyway, go ahead.
Everybody and going. Even a couple weeks ago, whenever we were bringing out different kind of quoting movies as we were talking about them, the quotability of Karate Kid.
Yep. No doubt. Hi-ya. No.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, there you go. So let's see here. What else do we got? Is there anything else that we need to get into here with our go-to-goats, or we could just leave that for next week?
Yeah, I mean, 42 versus $1 Million Baby. That's another, that's pretty much
42s.
Yeah,
right?
but it's such a good movie matchup. Maybe to us baseball lovers. But $1 Million Baby is, the stool scene is something that plays in people's heads over and over again. That's
you got a good point there, man. You definitely have a good point there. Back to what we were talking about earlier here in the first segment, wrapping up the go-to-goats there, and we'll get back to that next Wednesday with some of the actual, we'll be, I think what we should do, honestly, next week is just announce the matchups and post them right then and there. Then next Wednesday, we read off the results and then we send out another batch of them, and we just give it a whole week to go over that, and then that way, throughout the week, we can also ask the different people that we have on the Afternoon Underdogs that day on what their thoughts and stuff, so that everyone has the right amount or the same amount of time to sway the voters. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely. That could be fun. But back to what Drew and Kyle and I were talking about earlier with basketball. James Harden's torn between re-signing with the Sixers or a reunion with the Rockets. Could you see the Rockets going out and getting Chris Paul and James Harden again?
I mean, the Rockets they're a franchise right now who is at the bottom of the barrel. They keep missing out on the top lottery guys, and they really don't have that next superstar on the roster right now. So why not just try to sell some tickets and merchandise?
I guess there you go. There you go, man. What are you thinking over there, Drew?
It's definitely an interesting. I mean, selling tickets is obviously where you're going with this. Do they also look at bringing Russell Westbrook into the picture too?
Why not?
Why not?
Bring him back.
But could you just go get Kevin Durant at that point too? Make a deal with the Suns.
Kevin Durant don't want to go to Houston.
No, I know he doesn't, but man,
people that live in Houston don't want to go to Houston.
Oh man, you said it, not me.
One side of Houston is 8 hours away from the other side of Houston.
Yeah.
How big of a loss? How long is Judge's stint going to be on the IL right now? So he's got a ligament strain in his toe, and they didn't provide a timeline for it. So that's going to be interesting. How far back do you believe the Judges, the Yankees, could fall in the American League East right now with how good the Rays are playing, how good the Orioles are playing? The Blue Jays just sent Alek Manoah down to the Florida Complex League, so he's not even pitching with them, which gives them another spot to try to find someone else who can do what Manoah couldn't do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They just got Giancarlo Stanton back, so maybe the Yankees aren't in that bad of a spot.
I don't think that they're in a terribly bad spot. I just think that they don't have a lot of room to give to the Rays and the Orioles right now.
No, they don't. But what are we, about 65, 70 games in at this point?
Yeah.
So there's obviously a very, very long way to go. A toe strain, that's something new to me. I can't say that I guess it may be the equivalent.
I wonder
of
how much it has to do
NFL.
with him running into the wall the other day.
That's possible.
It did. I'm reading here. It did happen right there. So yeah, pretty cool stuff right there. Or not pretty cool stuff, but wild that I asked that question, then was able to find that out pretty quickly there. So, but no timeline for the Star Sluggers' return of Aaron Judge at this point in time. Let's see what else we have out here in the world of sports. I know there's some other things that I wanted to get into earlier in the day while you guys are arguing who's going to be paying for the check. Kyrie Irving reportedly wants the Mavericks to trade for LeBron James. Of course, I think every fan in the NBA would like to. Why don't you guys just wait like 30 seconds here?
That's what you saw the break sign, right? You saw the break sign.
That's why I kept going thumbs up.
I'm going to give these guys
about 4 minutes.
No, not even that. No. Stay right here, Brendan. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida is already your home for the most live and local sports talk. And now we're taking...
Oh, he got all of that one.
The Inside Drive. Ryan Mulvey, middays, 11 to 1 inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. The latest reactions to the biggest stories happening right now. Plus, interviews, sports betting, and your calls.
You gotta be pleased with that.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
I have some great gift ideas for you here at Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves. We have a large selection of 14-karat charms starting at just $19.95. Engrave a personal message and add a special coin for your dad's birth year on a money clip or keychain. And a beautiful designer Bulova watch is a perfect gift that will be treasured forever. Always a perfect gift for any occasion. From Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves, where our reputation shines as brightly as our diamonds.
By now, you've heard us talking about Tiger TV Pro. Hi, David Hayes from the Afternoon Underdogs, here to remind you about this incredible streaming service with over 6,000 premium channels. And the cost, you ask? $15 a month. Yes, only $15 a month. Every sports channel is available, including the ACC and SEC Network, the NFL, NBA, MLB, HBO, Showtime, and thousands more. For more info, go to our website at espnpc.com. Scroll down and click the Tiger logo.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts in Delhi. Call 763-1627.
It moves fast. The High School Spotlight. Weekdays at 5:40.
Let's do it.
Sponsored by Barbaritos. ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. It's time for the final segment of the afternoon right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 Panama City, 102.1 in 101.9 in Port St. Joe. Kyrie Irving wants the Mavericks to trade for LeBron. Of course, who wouldn't want LeBron? But I mean, how do you guys would think that would work out though? Kyrie, Luka, and LeBron James there.
Too many alphas,
not enough betas.
There's only one ball.
Yeah, I mean, but maybe at this point, LeBron could work out really well. Thank you, buddy. I don't know, man. I just Dallas is. If you were to name, you could probably name about 25 NBA teams that I could see him going to before Dallas, just because of like there's been drama between he and Mark Cuban before. I don't know, man. They just don't seem like a franchise that's fit for a king.
I like that. Not fit for a king. So he's back to Miami. Him and Jimmy Butler. Then
I'm in it. There it is.
All right, there you go.
There have been rumblings.
Damian Lillard, or LeBron James in Miami.
Ooh.
But you have to give up Bam.
Okay, well, come on.
Porque no los dos?
Either one. If I gotta give up Bam.
Why not both?
But I thought that was Bum Adebayo or Scam Adebayo.
That's what I'm saying. I'll take either one of them.
Oh, either one. Oh, I thought you said neither one. I was about to say.
Actually, he's been balling in the Denver series so far.
To this point?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's get into that.
Yeah, there you go.
What happens game 3 tonight? Miami Heat, Denver Nuggets. I was going to ask Drew first to give you a little time to get ready for it, but Drew just decided to take him a big old drink of water.
Yeah, so I think Miami wins both games back in Miami. And then Denver wins game 5. My pick was Miami in 6. The key was to win one in Denver, which they did, because nobody's been able to do that. I said if Miami can do that, I wouldn't be shocked if it's Miami in 6. I just feel like we said it last week, it's dominance versus destiny. It makes no sense for Miami to beat Denver, but here we are. The role players finally came out in game 2. The role players completely no-showed game 1. Jimmy Butler no-showed game 1, and Miami lost by 11. That right there was the game that told me we're fine. We're going to be fine. We made a run there in the fourth quarter to cut it kind of close. They ended up winning by 11, and it's fine, dude. Now I'm not stressed out. Like, for me, I get a T-shirt either way.
Do you?
NBA champions, but Eastern Conference champions is cool. We beat Boston.
Would y'all raise a banner next year for
Eastern Conference champions? Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
But the key remember we talked about what the key for Miami is going to be, and it's to beat Jokic up and not let him pass. I think he only had 5 assists in game 2, and he got his. Of course, he's going to get his. He's the best player in the NBA, and it's obvious watching him. It's unbelievable the things that the dude can do, but Miami didn't make anything easy. He had scratches and bruises all over his arms, and I think that's going to be the story for him. Miami wins both games in Miami to go up 3-1. They win Game 5 back in Denver, and then Miami closes it out back at Game 6 back in Miami.
Drew, what do you think?
So, does Tyler Hero have a chance of coming back here?
I don't think it's going to happen.
He's listed as out for now, but if he comes back, I know you guys won without him, but I think if he comes back, he absolutely tips I wouldn't say absolutely, but I think he tips the scales.
Richter scale?
Tips the scales a little bit closer to Miami than what they have been here recently. The the line here is Denver minus 3.5, which is just still getting 3.5 at an opponent's stadium. I know Denver, and they've had a great year, but that's still crazy for what Miami has been able to do. Oh, excuse me. For what Miami has been able to do here.
See, I think the opposite. I think that's actually probably the most respectful line Miami's been given the whole
playoffs, or in the last 2 series?
The last 2 series, let's say.
Well, really only one series I feel like Miami's kind of been respected
Knicks.
In the odds, and that would be the Knicks, because even in the Bucks series, it was like, okay, when Giannis was out, there was a positive favoring for the Heat,
which was the only game they lost.
Yeah, exactly, which didn't make, I don't want to say it didn't make sense, but that should have been the sign for everyone, hello, the Heat are pretty good, because I remember saying vividly the night before the playoffs started, or after the play-in and we got to the playoffs, the Heat have no chance against the Milwaukee Bucks to actually beat them. They might push it to 6, and that would be lucky for them, and it did not go that way at all.
I just remember that second play-in game with 3 minutes left, they were down 6 to Chicago.
Yeah.
And what's going to be interesting is the Heat are 27-14 in home games, and they have a record of 14-8 in games decided by less than 4 points. The Nuggets are 19-22 on the road, and they are 5th in the league in scoring 16.2 fast break points. Miami is that, okay, we're going to slow you down. We're going to put you in the half court and see if you can provide from there. It's a clash of 2 different styles of teams, and it's been a fun series to watch, and I can't wait to see it play out. But
if I could say something real quick and let you get back to it, I'm glad that this was a series over the Celtics and the Lakers, though, just because I think Celtics-Lakers give you so many more storylines, but there's just, you can't predict nothing here with the Heat and the Nuggets.
A personal question I wanted to ask Kyle. With Florida State softball playing in the Women's College World Series, they start at 7 p.m.
Yeah. The game's at 7:30.
That was a great question.
The NBA game, the finals game 3 starts at 7:30. you pulling up 2 TVs, you flipping back and forth,
Well, I'll
you
tell you what
watching
I'm
on
not
your
doing.
phone.
Is watching on my phone, because that's no longer a possibility. No, it's 2023. I'm an adult. I have 2 TVs.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If
Sorry,
you
I'm a
don't-
kid then.
if
No,
you
you're
don't
good. I'm just
have TVs,
saying.
You're not an adult.
If you're a big sports fan and you don't have 2 TVs and like at least another TV ready to go into the living room at this point,
You think Michaela would allow you to have 2 TVs? in
Oh,
there?
God, no.
No,
well,
as
no.
much as you play Warzone, you need it just for yourself at that
Exactly,
point.
dude. That's what I keep telling her. I'm like, hey, what happens whenever I want to watch something? She goes, okay, well, I'll watch it with you.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but what happens when you're watching stuff? She goes, well, you can watch with me. I'm like, no.
See, that's the
we ain't
only
doing that.
thing,
No.
like, because if Taylor's in the living room, pretty much that's where the sound is at. So her TV gets the sound, and then my TVs get the, I'm just watching, hopefully subtitles, or maybe, plug some headphones up or whatever. But you miss a lot, when you're not, especially if you're trying to watch 2 different sports, if you don't got the sounds up pretty high on both.
I just use the I stream through my Xbox. And I have the headset, and I'm able to sync the headset to my controller and turn the volume up on the headset, so I don't need to hear anything
Now,
else.
I'm not advocating for watching sports when we have the beautiful ESPN Northwest Florida, and you can listen to the full gambit of sports. But let me ask you guys this. If you do watch ESPN, I would love to hear from our listeners here as well. If you have ESPN on your Xbox, do you, is it my service provider or what? I cannot on the Roku. It's fine. It works seamlessly. On the Xbox, it gives me that little white circle like the whole time. Like the video's playing and everything, but I get the white circle the whole time, and it's
Did you
just on my
uninstall it?
Xbox. Yeah, I've done a bunch of things for a
Have
while.
you turned it on, turned it off, and turned it back on?
A few times. Daily, actually.
A real thing you could do is go in and I forgot what app I had to do it for. Oh, I had to do it for the NFL Network app last year. You have to go in and clear the cache for it, clear all the save.
Yeah.
Not only delete and uninstall the app, but go in and clear all the memory and everything for it too. And then it'll be fine.
So I would check that out. But I had no purpose asking that. I just wanted to know if it did that to you guys or not. But back to that Florida State Oklahoma, man. The last loss that Oklahoma had.
51 games.
59-1 on the season, 51 games straight won. But who was the last team that they lost to? It was Florida State.
Ooh.
It was Florida State. And the last time that Oklahoma didn't win the national championship or the women's college world, that Sweet Tea is good today, brother. You got
fire.
Yeah. Come out to Dave & Buster's, man. They got great food, great half-price games, and you got happy hour. You got an hour and 8 more minutes of happy hour right now. But Florida State, the last time that Oklahoma did not win the Women's College World Series was in 2021.
Yep.
And
FSU.
FSU won then. So there's a lot of storylines in here. You got Catherine Sandercock, who's been pitching lights out. My favorite thing is I read an article about her, not yesterday, but the day before, where this year the coach had asked her, you're still our ace or whatever, but you're going to do a lot of appearances in relief this year. So she's thrown for a lot of innings, and that's great. And then my favorite part of everything is that the catcher for Florida State is Michaela Edenfield,
Love her.
and she's from Sneads.
Yep, and she is just absolutely smoking the ball.
You know what? And here's my other thing is that baseball, right? We said it earlier, home run or strikeout, right? Whereas Oklahoma, I'm not going to say home run or strikeout, but they hit a lot of bombs. Whereas Florida State, if you watched the Tennessee game the other day, they did hit a lot of bombs, but they're nowhere near in the same stratosphere as the amount of home runs that Oklahoma has. So it's going to be long ball versus small ball.
Yeah.
And for the next, at least for sure, 2 games, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
It's best 2 out of 3, and it's all tonight, right?
Well, no.
It'll be over the next couple
of days.
Okay.
A game tomorrow night, and then if necessary, Friday night
Okay.
would be game 3.
Back Monday night, me and the wife went out to a restaurant in the Pier Park area. Not a sponsor. And so we...
You could be if you just text me at 850-215-6290 and make sure you make a note that this message is for David.
There you go. But we were sitting out there, and I'm watching Florida State and Tennessee play, and I'm just watching every single player from Tennessee come up, just all of the contact that they're making off of the Florida State pitcher was either on the handle, jammed on their hands, or off the end of the bat. Then you see the bottom of the inning come up, Florida State comes up. Connection, sweet spot. sweet spot on every single player coming up, and I'm just thinking, good Lord, they must have this girl's number. Like, what is going on?
Oh, I do have to correct a mistake that I made here. It was not Florida State that beat Oklahoma in their lone loss this year. It was actually Baylor who beat them 4-3. Kyle Albritton said that, and then I had to go and cross-reference that. Appreciate him cross-referencing me so that I didn't stay being wrong about that. So it was actually Baylor there, but still, regardless, 2021 Florida State. Well, there's some great storylines in this particular Women's College World Series, and can't wait for it. What are you thinking about the Super Regionals, man? Which is the one? Let me ask, Kyle, do you know which ones that we have here left? There's a
first page.
Yeah, first page right there. For you, who's LSU got? Kentucky, man. So you got 2 all-SEC Super Regionals here. Mm-hmm. You've got Kentucky and LSU, and you've got Florida and South Carolina. These are some big-time games. Tell me out of those two. Well, I'm not even going to ask you LSU, Kentucky. What about Florida, South Carolina? Can South Carolina upset the Gators of Florida?
I think South Carolina has a pretty good shot at it because they did it during the year. Granted, they were doing most of that. I believe they played at South Carolina. So they took, I think, 2 of 3 from Florida in South Carolina during the season. But it's definitely going to be interesting. And they've got the shot to do it outside. I think where you were going, outside of LSU, Kentucky, my most intriguing matchup in the Super Regionals is definitely going to be Tennessee versus Southern Mississippi. That is one I'm dying to watch.
All right, Tennessee. So for me, and I know that this sounds biased or whatever, but I think even if I wasn't an Alabama fan, I would be interested in this Wake Forest, Alabama, because Wake Forest is the number 1 overall seed, and then you've got Alabama who's on a hot streak, but it's not even the hot streak that they're on that I'm interested in. It's Brad Bohannon, the whole betting scandal and everything, and now they find themselves in this position, though. So I think that's going to be interesting. Not my most intriguing, though. I want to say my most intriguing is actually going to be, I want to see, all right, TCU dominated their regional. Right, and I was making so many remarks, I would say, last week about 65-7. They're going to get deep into it and just get crushed or whatever. But I really like that TCU and Indiana State, the Larry Birds.
And Chandler Permenter had brought it up last week. There's something crazy about the something about that number 1 seed. You've got that bad juju there, so I think it's very interesting.
No doubt about it, man. Well, it's been a very fun afternoon out here. I'm going to try to carry us here for the next 40 seconds. Well, we have 3 fantastic local shows. The Coach James Hale Show Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Then the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We wrap your afternoons up out here. Well, not out here all the time, but with the Afternoon Underdogs from 4 to 6 with a cast of sports fanatics every single day, and it's a lot of fun. Your Atlanta Braves are going to be coming up next. They got the Mets. You've got Charlie Morton going up against Max Scherzer. That should be great. You've got Game 3 of the finals tonight, and you also have Game 1 of the Women's College World Series. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
No, don't go there. No.
I heard she's making some good money. What are y'all doing down there, Glenn? I see this package delivered to your house every once in a while. What is going on?
I got inside news from Hunter and from Joe, so I know how to work all
that. Weekday morning, 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Wednesday's weather forecast. Mostly clear tonight with a low near 75 and a wind between 5 to 10 miles per hour. A chance of thunderstorms and some sun tomorrow morning and a temperature of 84. About the same in the afternoon and evening around 84 with possible thunderstorms and mostly sunshine.